Welcome to Let's Get Spooky. I'm Leanna Vamp.
And I'm Ashley Jonkus.
And this is a show where we talk about all things spooky.
It's a mysterious bag of spooky shenanigans.
That is true. And to kick off our very first episode, we are going to talk about all of our firsts.
Ooh.
Just so you can get to know us a little bit better. And I think we're going to start off with, I guess, our first horror movie. Right?
That would make sense. Yeah, because that would probably be the catalyst of all of this craziness that has taken over our life. So
do you want to go first or should I go
could go first because I could go. So backstory, I was like raised in a Catholic household, so I didn't really get to watch a lot of horror movies, but my first horror movie, there was 2 in a day and it was like, whoa. So I watched Nightbreed and then Child's Play on the same day. And the
How old are you?
I was like 14, but like Nightbreed, if anyone's seen it before, it's like, you know, it's not ideal, but it's kind of cute. And the monsters are, I mean, it was a 1990 film. You know, like Clive Barker did it and he's a genius, but I liked it because like the monsters were the good guys and like the humans were the bad guys. So I became obsessed with that, even though the movie aesthetically, not that good, but that and then Child's Play. So it was like those 2 became the catalyst of like being my first horror movies, but like also the best because I'm not really, you know, I'm not into kids, but Chucky got my heart.
He is a cute little guy.
He's a little nugget.
So for me, my very first horror movie was The Exorcist. And nice. This whole movie kind of started my love for horror and this whole genre. But I was, I think, 8 years old. So probably too young to be watching it. And my parents, like not that we didn't watch a lot of horror, but like I didn't watch a lot of at home. So I was at my friend's house and she lived up in the hills, like in kind of like this foresty area that was already the start of a horror film.
Spooky.
Like, so spooky, so creepy. I was already creeped out just being there. So she's like, we're going to watch a movie. And I got all excited. She starts the movie. It's playing and she falls asleep. So it's like us sitting on the couch. She's passed out. I'm like this terrified 8 years old.
You're like, it's just me and you. It's just this moment.
Literally, I was so freaked out. I don't think I blinked the entire time. Their house had no screens like on the windows. They would keep the front door open. And it was a time where you can do that and nothing bad would happen.
Yeah.
But imagine like the door is open.
Yeah, and you're probably waiting for that girl's face to fly through the window and be like...
Right. I was like, someone's going to crawl down the stairs backwards.
Yeah.
It's going to be really bad. But I would say I was so spooked out that night. I don't think I slept. I stayed awake and I was like right by her the entire time. I was so scared. But the next morning I was super pumped. And I think the next night I stayed over for the weekend. We watched Stigmata, which also scared the crap out of me.
Yeah, that's a doozy. For an 8-year-old? Yeah.
For an 8-year-old, yes.
That's not ideal. I was like watching Teletubbies probably still.
When you were 8.
Yeah, when I was 8.
A lot less spooky.
A little less. It was like mind fuckery in a different way, but...
True. If you go back and watch Teletubbies, you're like, what was really going on there?
Drugs.
Drugs. Kind of horrific as well. But I would have to say that was like my very first horror experience besides Halloween. Like I'm sure you were a Halloween kid. I was a Halloween kid.
Huge Halloween kid.
Loved it. But my very first like being terrified at night.
Did you like being terrified though? That's the thing, because for me, it freaked me out. And then a day later I was like, I want more.
Exactly.
That was the thing.
At the time, I was not having very much fun. I was like, I'm going to get possessed. Yeah. I don't want any of this. I was so freaked out. But then the next day I was like, yeah, that was pretty cool. Let's do that again.
Yeah. It's like a roller coaster where you like hit the lead up and you're just like, oh, here we go. And then you're kind of like, well, I have a fast pass. Let's do it again. Wasn't the worst thing. I didn't die.
True. I think that I find that even now when I watch horror movies, going down the hall to go to the bathroom or anything at night, it freaks you out. But I think that's one of the things that I love, that like terror. I love being afraid, just a little bit afraid, not like my life's in danger.
It's a different kind of fear. It's almost like a relatable thing where you feel better about your life. Like for me, sometimes I like watch a horror film and I'm like, you know what? My life doesn't suck so bad because this is going on and like, I'm good. Like
there's no murderer chasing you through the house.
Not
with,
yet.
Like, a weapon or any, not yet.
No, I have a lot of masks in my life, but like there's no Michael Myers coming at my door, which I wouldn't mind because I think he's kind of endearing.
The night is young.
It's a different story.
You don't know what could happen.
Yeah.
What about about your favorite current horror movie or show? Like, what are you watching or what have you watched recently? I guess it doesn't necessarily have to be new, but something that currently you're
So like
checking
for
out.
me, the past, like, because it came out in 2017, but it's been such a prevalent movie and making me feel weird. And I think that like there's a lot of horror films that come out and you're like, you watch it and you're like, yeah, that was scary. This was the first film that made me feel very uncomfortable. And when I watched Mother, I don't think it's actually a genre in horror. I know it's like a thriller and it's like a mystery apparently, but for me,
I feel like it qualifies.
I think it does because it's like for me, you know, I get anxiety with like a lot of people. That's why I don't go to conventions more than a day because I'm like, I don't really want to do this. And so I made the mistake of watching Mother when I was sick of everyone and I just wanted to watch something kind of weird. And the way that it's shot, you know, like Darren does this thing where he has the camera right up in your face and the claustrophobic aspect really made me feel a way that I haven't felt with a horror movie yet. And I liked feeling really viscerally uncomfortable in my own home. Like I just didn't want anyone in my space. I remember I took a bath, I went to sleep and I was like, fuck everyone.
What did I just watch?
It was good
right?
because it's like personal space is such a thing and claustrophobia is such a thing. And like, I really like horror movies that kind of tap into personal things, like whether it be like, you know, fear of small spaces or like fear of holes or like things like that, where it's not like a guy coming at you with a knife, but it's just like, oh, I don't like this. Ooh.
Yeah.
So that was for
Uncomfortable.
me. Yeah.
I watched that movie and I really enjoyed it. And I think it was because going into it, I wasn't expecting anything. I didn't really read up about it.
Yeah.
I watched it on a plane, which was kind
That's
of an
not
interesting experience.
You're stuck on a plane with a bunch of people and now you're watching
I was
something
like,
with
oh my
a bunch
God,
of
I'm
people.
going to die. But it was very well shot. And at the end, it kind of is one of those movies where you're like, you walk away from it still thinking about it.
Yeah.
It gives you like, makes the wheels turn, which I think is really cool to introduce into a horror film.
Yeah, and for me, as like a photographer and a cinematographer I'm like, it was shot so beautifully, but what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, it was weird. What about
I
you?
enjoy that one. So current, I guess I have kind of a show and a movie. And the show, I don't know if you've watched it. It's on Netflix. It's called The Kingdom. It's a South Korean.
I have not. I'm behind.
It's really good. And the one thing that I like is it's subtitles. And I find that I have like a love-hate relationship with subtitles because I love watching stuff when I'm doing other things to be like background noise. But anything with subtitles, you obviously, unless
gotta, like,
speak
read.
Korean,
Yeah.
you have
Yeah,
to be
read.
paying attention. But it also it forces you to pay attention, and it's a zombie show. It's just really cool. I think it's set in a setting where everything kind of fits into that world, and it's just different. I actually checked it out, and they just got renewed for a second season. So
Damn.
it's doing pretty good, and it means that there's going to be more coming. What else? I watched one that I did not like as much. It was a Netflix horror film, and for me, whether it's good or bad, I'm still gonna watch it. Whether everyone hates it,
What is
it's
it?
terrible. It's called Monster, and it wasn't. It was pretty bad.
What's it about, though?
So
Because I haven't seen
it's a
it.
creature feature. So there's a creature, and this, I guess, spoilers. So if you haven't seen it and want to see it, put your earmuffs on because I'm going to tell you all
Get
about
out of
it
here.
right
Take
now.
a bathroom break.
So this mom and daughter I don't know where they're going. They're in a car somewhere on this road. It's dark. It's nighttime, and they hit a wolf. So they hit a wolf on the road, and somehow she spins out, and the car doesn't work anymore. It's raining. It's like the perfect setting for things to go horribly wrong. So they're stuck in this car, and like everything about it was like so unrealistic. So the mom's like, little daughter, you go out and check it out. Like, who sends their daughter
A
out
horrible mother.
when there's a wolf that could possibly still be alive? And you're like, go check out and make sure that, I don't know what you want to check out. But it's one of those things that I've found about horror, whether it's good or bad, like you're invested and you're hoping maybe it'll get really good.
You want to see how bad the mom is.
And I actually wanted to see what the creature looked like the
Yeah.
entire time. I'm like, show me this creature. Is he going to be cool? Which the creature was like, kind of had like a Godzilla looking mouth and claws. I still don't really know what it was. It had like really long arms. But I watched the whole thing. And at the end, I still had the same consensus that
You're like, meh.
Yeah, it was like, meh, but I watched it.
Yeah.
And I think that I find myself doing that a lot. Whether it's good or it's bad, I'm still going to give it a shot. And
you know what it is too? There's like so much media coming out. Like if you have Netflix, it's like every day there's a new TV show or there's 5 or there's a new movie. Like for me, I just had the whole thing with like Velvet Buzzsaw, which I
just watched it a couple days ago.
So it's gotten a lot of mixed reviews. I actually like it because I come from an art background where I was just like, yeah, like there's this $1 million industry of bullshit. And having the art possessed by a man who despised how much money was put into it is super fascinating.
Yeah.
I felt like the ending was a little weird, but like I kind of enjoyed it. I don't hate it and I don't fucking love it, but it was
right there with you.
Yeah, it was a different perspective on horror, which I think we need. And I think that like tying into such a like money obsessed industry is almost like a horror within itself for people who are in it.
So true.
So
true.
I enjoyed it. Like I wouldn't be like, that's the best movie ever. But like, I don't know. I think there's a lot of like half duds out there where as someone who has like been in industries before where like so many people are working on things, it's just like you put out the end result and like that's what it is. And like the fact that they put out these movies with such these like visceral like ideas and like opinions and new voices, I think is great. It's like, do they hit the mark? Not all the time, but it's
but that's like kind of
entertaining.
The question of who are you trying to please? No matter what you do, you're not going to please everyone. I was entertained. At the end, I kind of felt like, what did I just watch?
Yeah.
But I think that the most like horrific part about it was the truth.
Yeah.
Like how the art industry,
it's all
how
bullshit.
things can be, like how it can really be. And when you take a step back, you're like, wow, that is scary. Because that's real life.
Yeah.
And that actually does happen. There was some choices that they made and I was like, that was super cheesy. But like they
didn't push
parts,
it enough.
Yeah.
Like
I wanted
the gore
to see
was
more
good,
gore.
but I felt like the editing was a little soft.
Yeah.
And
Consensus, I would give it like, I guess, star rating. What would you give it out of 10?
I'd give it like an 8.
I would give it like a,
I don't know.
I'm a tough critic. I would give it like a 6.5.
I think because like I know that life and like I have a minor in studio art. So I've been trained to like understand like, you know, exhibitions and galleries. And
you know
I'm just
how
like,
real that
I'm
is.
like, that's some real shit. Like it is all lies and mischief and tomfoolery and it's no good.
I watched it, I think, expecting something completely different. Like I was expecting it to just be way more gory.
Yeah.
And it wasn't. So I was kind of like, I wish it had more of that. But it was worth the watch.
It was
so
a lot of
relationship
relationship driven.
It was worth the watch.
Yeah.
What about, we're going to be talking a lot about like ghosts and paranormal, everything in like the paranormal world. So have you personally had your own paranormal experience?
I've had
or like one that is like tops your paranormal.
I've never,
list.
disclaimer, I've never seen a ghost. I've been in a lot of haunted places. I grew up, like New Hampshire is a very old, like it's
very haunted.
It's a historic old piece of land in the armpit of the East Coast. And you know, like there's some old houses, there's a lot of old churches. So for me, like when I started my photography career, which was like me 16 with a camera, I would go out to these graveyards with like, you know, 18th century, 17th century graves, and I would lay down on them and I would do like all these weird like portraits. And so like for me,
all the things you probably shouldn't do.
Yeah, I was a weird rebellious kid. I was not doing drugs, but I was doing weird art in bad places. So for me, I would go to the graveyards and I would like feel presences, and I would like, there was one point where I did feel like a hand on my shoulder, almost telling, like it was like this subliminal message being like, don't do that. Like, what are you doing, kid?
Don't lay on the graves.
I've felt presences that were bad, but I've never seen a ghost. So I've had my fair share of like weird shit.
Yeah. I think the tough thing with like any sort of paranormal, I have such a hard time with that word. Paranormal experiences is it's a personal thing most of the time, unless you physically have like your phone and you caught something on camera. But otherwise it's something that you saw, you felt. And no matter what you feel, you can tell your best friend, you can tell your grandma, you can tell your mom, and they're still going to kind of look at you like,
you crazy.
Yeah, you're a little crazy. Like maybe, but probably
because there's diehard believers, and then there's people who are just like that.
All the skeptics.
Yeah.
And until you have had your own personal experience, whether it was like a touch or a vision of something or whatever it may be, you'll never understand where someone is coming from. For me, so I would say that the first thing, this is like kind of like an ever evolving thing for me. There were so many things that I grew up with happening, and I didn't understand it, and I never knew why I felt that way or why that happened to me until I got older. But my first, I would say, experience where I physically saw something was my cat, and it sounds super cheesy.
Animals know, though. That's the thing. Like,
yeah.
they have that sixth or seventh or eighth, ninth sense, whatever.
She it was my cat Patches, and I had her for a little over 17 years. So she was like an old lady. I had her for a really long time. And she passed away. I was away at school, and so I wasn't there when she died, and I felt so guilty. I knew that day I was like, I should have stayed home because I knew she was going to die. And I went to school because it was like a test day or whatever it was. And so fast forward to like 6 months, my parents were out of town, and I had to watch their house, and I was like watering their plants. And the cat used to sit in my parents' bedroom in their window and sunbathe because the sun would come in. She would lay there all day long. And there was like a little tiny ledge that she would sleep on, and there was curtains behind it.
Yeah.
So I'm out in the backyard, I'm watering trees, just like a normal day. And I remember looking over my shoulder and seeing her sitting in the window. And at the time, I didn't think anything of it. And I was like, well, it's just the cat sitting in the window.
Yeah.
And then in that instant, it hit me. I was like, well, the cat's dead. So that is not the cat. And I looked back, and I saw the curtains move, and like she jumped down, like I saw her tail.
Yeah.
And immediately I was like panicked, because then your mind starts playing tricks on you, and you're thinking, was that really what I saw? Is someone in the house?
Am I a drunk child?
Did I have a lot of alcohol while I was watering these trees? Which wasn't the case. So I was scared. I called my mom, and I didn't want to go in the house because I'm figuring, what if it's a murder? What if someone broke in and they're going to kill me? And so I called her, and I'm like, Mom, and I'm like crying, and I tell her what happened. And she's like, yeah, that's just Patches. I see her all the time. Like, just normal. Like, that's just a normal thing. And she's like, yeah, she was just letting you know that she's okay.
It's interesting that it's an animal, though, as your first experience, because I actually don't know a lot of people who have like animal paranormal.
It was weird.
Yeah.
And ever since that point, like, I never saw anything. My mom, I don't think, has ever seen anything since then. But it was just like a kind of oh shit moment where you're like, oh my God, what was that?
That's a dead cat.
Yeah. And then you freak yourself out. And then I would say that after that, like years later, I did a show called Ghosted where we went through the South, and like basically it was like a travel paranormal show. So it was more like you would meet the people, try the food, learn the history, learn the ghost history, and then ghost hunt.
Yep.
And we were at the old Charleston jail in South Carolina.
Which I've heard of before.
It is super haunted.
Weird as shit.
So many things, have so many deaths, so many terrible things happen there. And that experience, I would say, was one of the moments that brought so much light to so many things that had happened up until that point in my life where I was like, I understand.
Yeah.
We were shooting, it was like towards the end of the show, and Cameron, my husband, was taking pictures. So we were like going around like Instagram photos. He was being in the Instagram husband and taking pictures, and we were on the 3rd floor of the jail, and he takes a photo. And then he does the Instagram husband thing. He turns the phone around to show you, to be like, hey,
is it good?
Is it okay? Do you like it? Do we do another one? And I remember just having like this crazy emotion of needing to leave. Like, I need to go. I don't want to be here. Obviously, we're shooting a show, so I can't leave. And so he goes to turn the phone around, and I just like walk right past him. And he's like, what the hell? What is going? What are you doing? And I walk down one flight of stairs, and I immediately am like bawling, like uncontrollable. I feel like something is sitting on my chest.
Because you probably got the emotions of whatever was like.
That exactly what happened. So I'm like hysterical, and I'm walking down like I'm going to leave this place. As I get to the bottom of the stairs, the whole crew is there with the cameras, and then instantly like went away, and I'm super embarrassed. Like, why am I crying?
Something,
what is wrong
like,
with me? Like, I'm not a chicken, you
Yeah.
know? And one of our producers on the set, he's like, tell me what happened. One of the guys that was the tour guide is like, explain what happened. And they're like, yeah, that, like, as I'm saying the story, they're like
Makes
it's totally
sense.
normal.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what do you mean that's normal? That's not normal.
Because there's probably a residual energy of like the people who got, you know.
And it walked right through me, and I felt everything that person felt in one instant. And I think the thing that freaked me out the most is I was not in control.
Yeah.
In that moment, I had no control over anything.
It's like people who get possessed, though. Like they'll get possessed, and then they like kind of don't remember. It like becomes them, and they're another person.
Yeah.
for hopefully gets out of them. And they're just like, oh,
yeah. But it freaked
normal.
me out.
Yeah.
And I think at that moment I realized, and again, to anyone who hasn't had an experience, it sounds super cheesy. I totally get it. Like, I understand. But once you feel something like that, it is real.
Yeah.
Like, there's no other explanation why that would happen. We were shooting all day. Why would I just start crying for no reason? And at that moment, I realized that I had traits of being an empath.
Yeah.
And my entire life, I could walk into a room and get really mad for no reason. And I'm like, why am I
Which
mad?
I don't have, because I shoot in abandoned, sometimes haunted places. And I almost feel like I have like this barrier. And then I also try to actually prevent it with like how I set up my set. So like
consciously, like you're doing this, like you're aware.
I'm like, get out of my space because I have 2 hours and then I got to get the shot.
I got shit to do.
Yeah, like I will go into a space, I will have my Bluetooth speakers and I will play like hardcore rap music so that I don't hear anything. And
the rap barrier.
And I've had it glitch a little bit, which I'm like, someone's trying to get my attention, but I need the shot. So I'll just try and like make my own atmosphere because I actually don't want to deal with the atmosphere and the energies that are there.
Yeah.
And it's a coping mechanism because I don't really want to have things go through me.
Yeah.
That I'm pretty happy. I don't want bad things
I don't
coming
want that
in and out.
coming in my body.
Yeah.
Have you had something happen that made you feel like you have to put up that wall, or has it just been like?
I mean, I've been in places that feel very heavy and that bothers me.
Yeah.
And like, I'm a very like emotionally, sensitive person, even though I don't look like I would be. Cause
you have feelings. We all have feelings.
We all have feelings, but I'm just like, I got my own feelings. I don't want anyone else's feelings. So
it's too much
I've been in places before, especially like living in Washington where I'd go out to abandoned places. And it's just like this heaviness that I don't want to carry that. I don't want to like directly speak to dead people. Like it's cool, but I'm partially afraid.
Yeah.
Because I can barely handle the living.
I think a small sense of fear when it comes to all of that is good. It keeps you on your toes. I think that if you walk into a situation and you're like, come on, ghosts, come through me.
If you interrogate them, they're probably going to try to fuck you up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that, I don't know, it's another one of those things that like doing the whole ghost hunting and investigation and being in that world has made me aware of things that I just didn't understand.
It makes me more spiritual.
Yeah.
Like for me, like going throughout life where I was just like flying by the seat of my pants and like trying to survive, like it made me more grounded and realizing that energy was a thing. Mm-hmm. Souls are like, like everyone has a soul. We were just like, actually, now I know that like it can kind of carry through.
And it
like,
can stay somewhere.
Oh yeah.
Like when you say that plenty of times when we were filming the show, we'd walk into a location and I was like, whew, this is going to be interesting because you feel that energy. Like when so many bad things happen in a place, there's no way
it festers in that area.
It does. And unless those things move on, it's still there. And when you feel that, I think that's a huge gift to have, to be able to walk into it. I mean, it's a gift and I guess a burden too, because it could be really scary if you're not prepared, if you're not putting up those walls, like you're saying, and you're not aware, like, hey, no.
I feel like they could break them, but they really like the music that I'm playing. So
like, thank you for bringing them.
But I also think I'm like, if those, residual energies are festering in those spaces, I'm like, do they ever actually get to leave, or is it up to the living to make or like help them pass through? Because a lot of it's like traumatic events. Like when you go to a haunted place, most of the time it's like asylums or it's like jails or it's like these old houses where someone gets murdered or like something bad happens and like that energy doesn't pass to the next life. So it's just like, is it our duty to actually help them, or do they just kind of swirl around forever?
I think that if you're aware of that and you can help, I think it kind of is your duty. I think that, like, imagine being that ghost or spirit. Imagine being that person trapped and you couldn't do anything to get out of it.
I hate it.
How awful that would be. So I think that if you are capable of doing that and helping those people, like, by all means, please do, because otherwise they live in that eternal hell. I mean, how can you imagine?
Would suck.
Like, you just want to be at peace.
And then I always wonder, I'm like, how, capable are they to understand what's going on? And I'm like, if I lived in a haunted house and I had Netflix on and they were capable of speaking to me, I'm like, are they also watching this show? And
are they enjoying
could I
this
talk to them about how I feel about it? And would they actually respond back if I had like an EVP or like some type of like, device?
Yeah.
I'm like, are they watching Black Mirror with me?
I have, so there's a friend of mine and she was talking about buying like old abandoned like homes. I hope you're taking the set with you. Old abandoned
Typical
homes
Ashley.
like churches. And I always say like, oh, well, obviously the house would be discounted if it was haunted, right?
Yeah.
And then I think, could I really live in a haunted?
No,
could you really live in a haunted
I don't
house?
want to. I love like Victorian architecture makes me weep.
Yeah, that's my dream home.
I was in a very old house in Port Townsend, Washington, which is known as a very haunted town. And this particular house, 1800s, super just weird and bizarre. It wasn't haunted, turns out, but like I was like kind of looking for it. So I kept like waking up at night being like, is there going to be someone?
Was that? Yeah.
Yeah. There was nothing. But, you know, like I love that aesthetic, but I could not afford my sanity to live in an aesthetically beautiful house. That's where I draw the line.
Yeah, I think that in my mind, I'm like, hell yeah, I would totally live in a haunted house. I could do ghost hunting in my own house.
You'd never be alone.
But you could never rest. I think that it would be interesting, but it depends on the extent of what was going on. But like my life, as is your life, very busy, and we got to get shit done.
I don't want a guy watching me while I sleep. I'm like, I have a hard enough time as it is. I'm just...
Cameron says, what if it was Casper the Friendly Ghost? I mean,
Casper. I'm not down for anything.
You don't like Cat? I love Casper. If it was
not
like
real, Leanne.
Don't tell me Casper's not real.
Jesus.
This is how I based my entire life in your
Plot twist.
My dreams.
We're on Dr. Phil right now. Ugh. And you're delusional.
What if it was like an animal spirit?
I've never dealt with an animal spirit.
But like a happy, like,
I did
if it was
have
my cat, I'd be like, hell yeah.
So there is this situation though. So, and I don't talk about my family much, but my grandfather, who I never met, he had a heart attack in our driveway and he ended up passing. And ever since then, my mom would deal with this dragonfly that would like land on her every year. Physical dragonfly. And it was like this thing where like she would lay out in the sun and it would come by her and it would just hang out. And it was every year. It was like the same dragonfly with these same stripes. And it was like kind of this thing where my mom was always like, well, maybe that's him. Like maybe.
Yeah, that is really cool.
So I almost feel like I've never dealt with an animal spirit, but I almost feel like sometimes those souls pass through to living things.
Yeah.
And
give
it was,
you that like,
yeah, it was kind of always
me.
this thing. It was just like, oh, like that's grandpa.
That's really sweet.
But I don't know if I'd want a dead cat following me around. I'd want a real one.
Yeah, you could have a real cat and then it could play with the ghost cat.
Could you imagine like having like a dead rhinoceros following you around?
That's tough.
That's bullshit.
Yeah,
that can't fit in the trunk of your car.
That's too much work.
We drive
ruin the hardwood floors.
Yeah, we have Priuses out here. We don't put a rhino.
Rhinos do not fit.
No.
What about? Okay, I have a really good first story that we both were there for. Our very first photo shoot together.
Which you came to me for in Seattle.
I flew to Seattle and we've known each other for like
years
and years and years.
Via the internet.
Yeah, via social media.
Thank God for that. That's how I meet all my friends though. It's weird.
And it was fantastic in this case because you meet a lot of strange people on the internet as well. But this worked out really good.
This was good. This is that 0.1% of goodness.
Yes. So we finally planned our very first photo shoot and Seattle is beautiful. And you were right. She was about to move. So we did it right before the move. And it was super gloomy. It was
always.
Perfect. It was literally the perfect backdrop for like every photo shoot we wanted. But, oh God, the table. I was yelling at you the whole time. Don't hit the table.
I positioned myself very smoothly. You fucked up.
I did. Sorry.
But good job.
I won't hit the table again. So I was super excited. I packed up all my outfits. I'm like ready to go. Every day that we would shoot, you'd be like, all right, so we're just going to go to this location. What she failed to mention is each location that we went to was like a 6-mile hike.
Yeah, which
like every day.
Disclaimer, if you live in Seattle, chances are you probably don't have a car. Chances are you walk 2 miles to go to Target like I do. Like it's a very walkable city. So for me, you know, walking 2 miles.
The city is walkable.
Yeah. So, but for me, like, you know, like I don't mind walking 2 miles to a sweet spot.
Well, I don't mind walking either. But I would show up in like my 4-inch, like my boots. I'm like in my underwear with like a flowy dress and it was like 30 degrees, maybe not that cold, but it's pretty cold. And we would hike for like I had my freaking watch on. I would check at the end of the day. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, you got injuries.
I fell down a freaking mountain. I have a scar still. This was like over a year ago, right? That we did this?
It was
in January.
Yeah.
I fell down a mountain. I was bleeding. We got great photos.
The shots were great. At the end of the day, that's all that really matters, because then you have the story, and then we get warm. But yeah, I put you through hell, and I would apologize, but I don't.
No,
really.
I know you don't feel bad. I don't feel bad either. I just, when you were like, oh, this is and this is the best thing, she'd be like, oh, we're almost there.
Psych.
I think you just said that to me, so I wouldn't be like, I'm gonna fucking.
Well,
kill
that
you.
one little decrepit house, that was like a trek. That was.
And then it started raining.
Which to this day, I've never given anyone that location.
The one with the...
it was like in like this moldy swamp.
Yes. We'll post photos so you can see, because it was epic.
Yeah, but that one I found by accident online. People, as they do on Instagram, they're like, where's that location? And I'm like, I'm not telling you anything.
Secrets.
Yeah, that we had to walk 2 miles for.
Yeah, it was pretty tough. And then there was like that weird little thing that I was balancing on.
Yeah.
That was like, it was in a swamp, so it was probably not smart, but I didn't fall in the water. And we got great shots.
It was good memories.
Yeah. So
we warmed up with whiskey at night.
We did. What was your favorite memory from that shoot?
That giant cookie that I ate. I mean, hanging out with you guys were great, but like I enjoyed the snacks, and
we went to what was it? Is it called Radiator Whiskey?
Radiator Whiskey
in Seattle.
And
it's this little whiskey bar. It was really cool. The drinks were amazing. We got someone got mac and cheese.
You guys ate real food, and I literally got a shot of whiskey and a giant cookie the size of a mini pizza.
The cookie was like this. It was huge.
It was as if it was going to hug me.
You had leftovers.
But I just stuck it in my mouth.
So good. It was so good. So if you go to Radiator Whiskey in Seattle, get the giant, I don't know what it's called, the giant cookie.
I don't even think it has a name. I think you're like, I want to fuck up my life right now.
In the pan.
Just give me that plate. Yeah, it's good.
But what other first? Do you remember your first trick-or-treating experience?
It's hard to remember because my life is a blur.
Try your best.
I do remember. So I remember my costumes more than my actual experiences because my neighborhood, bless New Hampshire, it is like primarily like farms and like there's houses, but like everything's on a hill. So like you think our trip was bad. Getting up one house
for some candy.
Getting up a driveway was like one trek for our photo shoot. Yeah. So like my dad would drive us around in this tractor and then we'd jump out and get our candy.
Wait, in a tractor?
Yeah.
Even better.
Yeah,
I love your Halloween experiences.
It was New Hampshire. We were a little bit ratchet, but So I remember my costumes though, like because there's photos, but I was like an M&M and then like a pumpkin, as you do.
Yeah,
but
M&Ms
when I was 9 years old, I made the mistake of dressing as a giant baby. Which
myself included, we all need a visual representation.
So it was as if those like things, the onesies, and then it has the butt flap.
Okay.
And so I had that, and then I had the bib, and it was just like the worst decision of my life.
But it's cold there, right?
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
Yeah, but aesthetically, it was not.
But you were a baby.
I was over everything. I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna be a child. Fuck it. I didn't have that. I wasn't allowed to be my fully spooky self.
Yeah.
So I was like going through the remedial costumes of like, I'll be a candy bar. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll be an M&M.
I'll be a baby. Fuck it. Yeah. So that year, I remember explicitly being very itchy. And then someone gave me a toothbrush instead of a candy bar, and I was done.
That's like when people give you raisins. You're like, oh, really? Or pennies.
I didn't get pennies.
Pennies, raisins.
I got a celery stick. I got a freaking toothbrush. And
so what I've learned, don't go trick-or-treating in New Hampshire.
It's probably okay now. I don't know. I think people have elevated themselves. But, like we had to do that thing where we squished all the candy to make sure that it wasn't like laced with drugs.
Yeah, or razor blades.
Yeah. And like, of course, like some candies would just get a little deflated. So like half my candy was laced, which it wasn't.
And you had to throw it away.
Yeah. So I don't know. The year of the big baby was not my ideal, but I remember it the most.
The year of the big baby. I think my very first memory... And there's a photo, and I remember I texted my mom and I asked her because I vividly remember my outfit, and it was, I don't know why I chose this. I was a clown. My little brother was a ninja, and my older brother, I think he was like a Ninja Turtle. I don't remember what his costume was. My mom, I feel like this was my mom telling me that she loved clowns. When I was a child, I was terrified of clowns. So I don't know.
I love clowns.
I love them now. I love them now. But when I was a kid, parents, if you have a child, Do not ever do this to your child.
I'll do this to my child, which I will not have, but I will have.
But nobody else do this to your child.
Let me babysit your children. And I
bring
will,
my clowns.
Yeah.
So it was like this weird paper mache clown on a swing.
Oh.
Paper mache clown on a swing. And it was like
in a corner or something.
Hung in the corner. And I swear to God, that thing would move. I was terrified. I like as a kid.
Was it
under
a vent?
No, there was no vents. As a child, you're not thinking, oh, maybe I should just take it down. Like it's in your room. It's the decoration. You leave it. So there was a swinging clown hanging in my room. I dressed up as a clown. I don't know what the hell I was thinking. I was terrified of clowns. And I think I got old enough and I took that clown down finally. Like I unhooked it.
Dude, that's bad mojo.
I put it in the closet. And thinking back about this, I remember talking to Cameron about it. And I was thinking back, like, what? We moved. Whatever happened to that clown? It was nowhere to be found. It never got packed. I remember exactly, I had a giant, like I was a child, I had a giant closet. I didn't need that big of a closet. And I threw it all the way in the back corner. It was total like poltergeist, like he gets the clown and like throws stuff over it. I was always trying to hide it. I tried to remember to ask my parents if anyone ever saw that, but I don't remember. Maybe I like in my...
I feel heavy inside right now. I'm like, where's the clown?
And I remember it was like, it had like a blue little outfit. It was on a yellow, like it's so vivid to me. So for the longest time, like anything clown related, I was like, nope.
Oh, see, nope. I was like so into it because my dad is deathly afraid of clowns and I really like to fuck with people.
So you're especially, like, yes, I love clowns.
Yeah, I was like a rebellious person in that I didn't do anything bad, but I found people's weaknesses and I was like, yes. So I remember distinctly when I first started photography and I was doing self-portraiture, I did like a Day of the Dead and like that like fucked him up really bad.
Like, no clowns. No clowns.
But I was like, it's a sugar skull. It's a different thing.
Really
and he's like, doesn't matter.
But now, I mean, as you see, there's clowns everywhere in our place.
Clowns are bae. I love.
They're cute now, but I've overcome the fact that there's no like swinging clowns in the corner. I've
always found them endearing. Like when Pennywise in the new It, like when he like, you know, drags his face across the basement stair, he like gives me that come hither look, and I'm like, yeah.
I mean, I don't know about that. But Cameron, can you grab the clown? We have a really creepy clown over here, and there's if you can get to it. So we were at a convention and there was our friend had a friend who was an artist and he had this thing sitting like in a box.
I also have one of these.
He makes music and I actually didn't know that until very recently. So this little guy was like just sitting in a box.
Heavy.
He's very heavy.
He's girthy.
He's all porcelain. And
shit, he's playing his song.
I know. It's so creepy. The song is really creepy. And so this clown is just sitting in the box and Cameron and I walked by and we're like, where did you get that thing? It's so cool. And so he's like, oh, I found it in like his aunt or some relative's basement. Like it was in the basement, which is He's the starts of a horror movie
for being in a basement for so long.
So we're bummed. We're like, oh, it's his clown. We can't get it. We can't buy it. And so at some point we had left the convention. He called his girlfriend and apparently showed girlfriend said clown. And she was like, you are not bringing that home. So shortly after our friend got a text saying, hey, do your friends still want that clown? If they want it, they can come get it. And we're like, hell yeah, we want that clown. Yeah. So, I mean, for a basement clown, he's in good shape.
He's in good shape. And I have a clown that has the same exact face, but a different outfit. And yours is good.
They're like brothers.
Mine has like a janky neck where his head just constantly sags like he's had a little bit too much to drink. But
you should bring your clown over for our next episode.
I just feel like the more weird dolls I have, the less people want to hang out with me. So like, you know, it's
like a barrier.
Yeah.
And if they like your creepy clowns and you're like, okay,
then they're cool
with me.
Yeah. If not, they can just not come over. They're not
allowed here.
Not invited to the spooky club.
So I had an idea for a game and I was like trying to figure out the game and how the game would work. So I'm going to explain it to you because I feel like you could help me figure out. Why are you looking at me like that?
I suck at games.
Well, we're going to work through this together.
We'll see.
So we figured for the show, it could be like a cool thing to play a game. And if you lose the game, then you have to do something you don't want to do, which will come later because we have to establish.
Like wear color?
Wear color, eat something gross, wear color.
Yeah, like yellow. I'm not really
yellow. Yeah, we're very not colorful.
They're not ideal.
Our couch is colorful, but that's where we draw the line. The clown is colorful. So the game idea is basically rock, paper, scissors, but with like our favorite horror characters. So like Freddy, Michael, Jason. But the thing that I came in, like the problem is, so rock, paper, scissors, it sounds easier. Like, okay, so-and-so is rock, so-and-so is paper, so-and-so is scissors. But with characters that have like, all these characters have a supernatural aspect or like something unnatural about them, where like Freddy can kill you in your dreams. You know, no matter how many times you kill Michael Myers and how you do it, he's still going to come back. Mm-hmm. So we have to establish who is who and why, and like who would beat who.
Michael Myers has to be the rock because rocks can't be destroyed. Like they just become smaller rocks. Like he's just a beast. Like he's a big freaking rock.
Okay, but you can say that about Freddy Krueger too, because he is like can infiltrate your dreams, so you can't physically kill him in real life.
I would see him more as paper because he's slithery and he slithers into your dreams.
True. I need notes. I'm gonna write this down because I feel like this will be important.
Michael is the rock because he is my rock. And
he is my rock. Okay, so we're saying
he's like a boulder that continuously flows down a very steep hill. And he's big, and he's going to do whatever he wants to do, but it's in his time. So he is the rock.
Freddy will be paper?
Yes.
Paper. We're going to say Michael will be, and Jason. Okay, so Michael will be the rock?
Yeah.
We'll have to like go back and then see if there's flaws in our theory here. So then
my theories are always correct.
Jason.
Let's not kid ourselves.
So I would say that Jason, that's not how you spell scissors. I can't spell that. We're just going to put that right there. S. Skizzers. So wouldn't you say that, I feel like the scissors is going to be like the sharp object. So Michael Myers usually has the knife, which is shorter. Jason has the machete, which has longer reach. So Jason would be able to kill you from farther away, whereas Michael would have to be closer. Like strangulation, stabby stab would have to be close. Jason could be like more of a distance because he has more reach. Maybe we bit off more than we can chew for this one.
Wait, did we establish Freddy?
Freddy's going to be the paper.
Yeah, okay.
Because he can slither into your dreams.
Yep. I feel like Mike is the rock. Like he's just like this big thug. And the reason why I love him so much is because like he just gets there when he gets there. Like he just knows he's this big, powerful piece of shit. And so
slow moving.
He's like slow moving. Mm-hmm. He's like a boulder of dark
I love insanity. Your metaphors here.
And like, I
feel like there's more to, I feel like you love him.
I feel like, well, no, like,
she loves him. I don't know. That's okay. There's no
like
judging.
The same. It's like the thing with Darth Vader too. There's something about those big guys with the masks. I don't know, whatever.
That's for a whole nother episode.
It's a whole other episode.
It's a whole nother thing. Okay. So Freddy is going to be the paper. You say Michael Myers is going to be the rock.
Yes. My word is law.
Well, actually, that works because I'm saying Jason would be the scissors.
Yeah.
He would be.
Yeah.
So that was actually way easier than I thought.
This is why we're homies. This is why we have a podcast together.
Exactly.
Jesus.
No arguments here. But we would love to hear your suggestions on who you think would be who and why. And maybe if you're convincing enough, you can sway us. But I think we got it.
I think we're pretty accurate.
So what are other things? Because we have to have we'd have to do the game. So Freddy would obviously be claws.
Yeah.
Michael Myers would be, I don't know. Jason, I think, would be mask.
Yeah. But how would we play that? That'd be really weird.
What do you mean? You would just you would Freddy, Michael, don't hit the table.
I'm already breaking the set.
You would Freddy, Michael, Jason.
It's the same. It's just like,
but I win though.
But what am I?
Oh no, you're.
This is where we need audience help because we don't know what the fuck we're doing.
Wait, do it again. Okay, so we go. Wait, we go. Freddy, Michael, Jason. Wait, that's not. We need practice. Well, you technically did paper, so we were the same because I did claws, you did this.
I was being more surrealist.
Yeah, you're not playing the game right. We were trying to establish the rules. You were not doing a good job. One more time.
It's not me, it's the drink.
You can do it. Okay, ready? Wait. Ready? Okay, 1, 2, 3, Freddie, Michael, Jason. I win, right?
I don't know.
I'm paper.
I'm...
You're scissors. No, I lose.
This is where we suck.
Yeah. Well, in theory, this will work better.
We've got some kinks to work out.
Yeah. We know who is who. We know who would kill who. And that's really what's important. That's
Maybe
really
we need to add more killers. I don't know. Maybe
we can totally add more killers. We can add, I know you love Chucky. We can add Chucky.
What would he be? Hand-wise. That's a big thing.
Oh, he would be.
He'd just be
you could do like what? Little. That's good. He could be little. Is that too many? 4? Could we add another one?
We'd have to ask the Bride of Chucky if he's really little.
So we have 4 so far.
We have 4.
I think
that's
good.
a lot. Yeah, I think that's good.
But who? Okay, now we introduced a new character, and then we have to figure out who wins over who now.
Yeah. This is where we really need to
use our brains. We're gonna use our brains. So for right now, we're gonna have 3: Freddie, Michael, Jason.
Yeah, because that's classic.
If we decide that we can figure out Chucky, then
Chucky's the side swiper, and I only think Chucky's good because like they're remaking the movie, so I'm like maybe he has redemption, even though the trailer sucked.
I was gonna say, what are your feelings?
I am actually, it like kills me because like the original Child's Play had this nostalgic aspect, and I think it's how it was filmed. And I think the way that the trailer was put out, I was really hoping for something to like really scare me, and it was from the creators of It and stuff. So like when I watched the trailers for the new It, I was like genuinely freaked out. When I watched the trailer for the new Chucky movie, I wasn't scared. It was kind of just like I don't know why.
Think about though, like the comparison, the way they did It, they could make him really scary.
Yeah.
He's way scarier in the new version than he was in the original series. But they really don't
show Chucky in the new trailer.
That's true.
They show everyone else getting, like they show the child, and they show that actress that I'm forgetting her name, but they show her getting like tortured, and they show the factory, and it was just like, I don't know if it's because it's shot very well, like it's just beautifully shot, and I'm just like, I'm just like, wow, this cinematography is great, but I'm not scared. It was like Ex Machina of Chucky, and I don't know how I feel about that, and I don't know if they're remaking it in the past tense or if they're remaking it in the 21st century.
Like if it happened now, how would his powers kind of work? I kind of have that mixed feeling too, where I feel like based on the trailer, I'm not sure how I feel about it. I'm still going to watch it, obviously. It
didn't make me want to, like, when I saw the trailer for It, I was like, I have to go see that day it comes out. That. The Chucky one, I was like, I'll go see it when it's convenient, whatever. Like,
we'll watch it and then we'll talk about it.
Yeah, that being said, I do have the doll coming to my apartment very soon.
So you'll bring your doll.
I'll bring my doll. He's
and then
my
we'll talk about it.
Yeah, he's got his outfit.
I think that'll do it for our very first episode. We gave you a lot of our firsts, so I feel like you know a little bit more about us.
A lot of firsts on our first. Yeah. And we'll obviously be going deep into like more in-depth, movie topics, like lifestyle, like who we are, like what we like in terms of
what we love, what we hate.
Yeah.
All things spooky.
All things spooky.
So thanks for joining us on our very first episode of Let's Get Spooky. I'm Leanna Vamp.
I'm Ashley Jonkis.
Stay spooky, guys.